Total Financial Hour here on KHTS AM 1220, your hometown station. My name is Logan, and with me is special guest, who's the main host, actually, Arif, here to talk about the things that matter for your family's financial future, the things that we don't always want to have to think about, but like it or not, guys, we all touch money every day. Whether or not you like it or not, if you think it's gross, rude to talk about, you still need it to pay the mortgage.
I love it when we talk about, you can't talk about money at the dinner table. Folks, we're not going to talk about money at the dinner table. Okay, Daddy, then let me talk about the Kardashians. And you go, all right, yeah, let's talk about them at the dinner table. Let's talk about the latest, greatest, violent video game at the dinner table. But don't talk about money, heaven forbid. But you need it to pay for the food that's sitting in front of you. You're going to need it for the electric bill. Why is it that folks are afraid to talk about money? Isn't that interesting? Listen, you shouldn't worship it. You shouldn't worship money. No more should you worship any sitcom star, and you shouldn't worship your job or your hobby. So let's go to let's get the ridiculous extremes examples out of the way. But I think part of what we need to do is focus on why it is that success in financial matters seems to find its home in some people. Right? You guys know them. You know the person who touches things and it turns to gold. Right? No matter the business, the investment, the real estate deal, whatever it is that you might call, financial strategies, these folks touch it and it turns to gold. They win every single time. And then you have others that can't seem to get out of their own way. In fact, I was on the phone to somebody this morning, and he said, my wife no longer wants me to invest in the stock market. And I said, oh, okay, why? He said, because I used to do it and I thought I was really good at it. And it turned out that when I made money, it was just an accident, and it wasn't my skill. And then I lost everything in 2008. So because of that, we have less than half of what we have, and we've spent 10 years trying to recover it. So I'm no longer able to be that person who takes that kind of risk. I went, wow. Talk about getting kicked in the teeth, huh?
And that's a great amount of self-awareness, too, because many people are in that same position and just think that, oh, let's try it again. Maybe this time it'll work.
And often in that conversation with your spouse, there's levels of guilt, there's levels of shame, there's levels of, how dare I think I'm that smart? I mean, right? We go through that conversation in our mind. But part of this conversation that we take place means it's time to find somebody that knows what they're doing. No more can you be the person that replaces the roof on your house. Doesn't mean you can't find somebody that does. And you shouldn't have to be paying for financial advice. It used to be that way. It used to be we as financial professionals had computer screens, we had software, I had access to information that you couldn't get. Sorry, you wanted it, you had to pay for it. Somebody in the financial world you had to pay. And in some cases, if you weren't licensed or didn't have the right connections, you couldn't even get the information if you wanted to. And yet today, almost everything about everything is free right here on these cell phones, iPads, tablets, computers. You can get more information, certainly faster information than I could almost ever get, ever. And for free, by the way. So if it's about knowledge is power, why is it that often very wealthy people are the most broke? Meaning they think they're the educated ones. They think they're the smartest because they have a great education. But when you look at the bottom line, they might make $200,000, $400,000. It doesn't matter. It never matters how much you make. It matters what you keep. And if you take somebody who understands money, then they can make 30, 40, 60, 80, 100,000 a year with a big family and still have financial success because they understand how to spend less than they make. They understand how to consistently save. They understand how to consistently put money aside for the future, for their kids' college, how to structure. It's a job. It's a full-time job to understand your own finances. And today you can have a lot of help doing it through the various software processes, coming to financial classes and stuff that we're putting on. In fact, we have a great class coming up, Logan. Tell folks about it. Maybe they'd like to attend.
Yeah, so great program we've got going on is called Money School, and it's really focused on the things that you should have been taught back in school, and most of us, unfortunately, weren't. So it's a lot of the basic financial knowledge and more than that, in how to apply it to the rest of your life. And really, it's always a great class, and we hear a lot of great things. And even more impressive than, someone at the end of the class goes, "Yeah, that was great." But we've done this for many years now, and we've seen the changes that it's made in people's lives, and that's the most impressive part.
Yeah, hundreds, if not more than 1,000 students have come through the Total Money School Plan program. And what it does is it's simple. It's called Money Basics. The very first class gives you a chance to learn, to understand how each and every the side of the financial mind works, but more importantly, like some practical things. It's coming up on Saturday. Tell us when it is, Logan.
It'd be next Saturday, September 29th, I believe.
September 29th at the Newhall Library. Give us a call. We'd love to have you attend. It would be a great opportunity. So it's a couple of Saturdays, right? A week and a half from now. But it gives you a chance to come and learn some of the basics of money. Bring your kids. We usually ask about 12 or 14 years old. They have to be able to sit still and have respect, right? This isn't going to be your traditional LA Unified Public School where kids can be disrespectful and throw things. I have nephews that attend those schools, so I know how it works. We have clients that are teachers of those schools. We know how it works. This is not that. This is a college-level participation and maturity with basic, even elementary, working through junior high and high school knowledge. Why are rich people rich? Who makes the rules? Why is it that most people don't seem to get out of their own way? In fact, do the math. If you work 20 years and you earn $50,000 a year, on average, right? So sometimes you might work a little longer, you might earn more money now, less money, but let's just say you work 20 years and you earn an average of $50,000 a year. That's $1 million. $1 million has gone through your hands. Now you're going to say, well, Arif, I understand. There are taxes I had to pay on this. Well, of course. Of course you had to pay taxes. Yep. So that means you made the government wealthy. They're happy you went to work. But Arif, I had to pay car insurance. Yep. So you made the insurance man wealthy and his company or her company. Got it. But Arif, we had to buy food. Yep. The grocery store. Their kids will attend college. Thank you. And Arif, the dry cleaner and the liquor store. Yeah. All of those folks will have an amazing vacation this year, but not you. So I want you to think about this. It's not that you're not capable of making money. It's that why are wealthy people wealthy? Why do some people get to retire at 50 or 55 years old and others work till age 75 and still don't have enough to stop working for money? So it's more than, obviously, than you're going to learn in a few hours, but it's the beginning, it's the conversation, it's the mindset. It's kind of the push in the right direction. And that is what a lot of people don't have.
And this goes beyond just cutting coupons or looking for sales. There's a deeper financial kind of mindset and trend setting. Sure, you save $10 on groceries for the week in terms of from coupons or sales, but in terms of overall impact, there's many more significant things you can do that aren't just the traditional cut the coupons and don't change anything else.
Yes, and a lot of people think they can save their way into financial prosperity. Coupons, cutting. I cut back. We share toothpaste. Toothbrush. I've seen people say, "Oh, we saw a show where they were husband and wife. They were trying to see how frugal they can be, and everything from sharing each other's floss. And I won't get any more gross than that. But you say, how about if you just, I don't know, get a second job? How about you become better, more profound in your career where people say, wow, I want to pay that person more money. So the same hour that passes, you actually earn more money. A great book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and that series, there's a whole series of books. Listen, unless I write the book, I don't agree with everything all the time in every single book. The last thing I want you to do is think, oh, somebody recommends a book, or we can go there for a minute. Somebody votes for a politician, he must agree with every single person, every single thing that person says, does, is, tweets. No, I don't agree with my wife 100% of the time, right? And so why should you think that you're agreeing with anybody, an author, a politician, anybody 100% of the time? Not the case. I want you to focus on a couple of things. your family's finances are now in your hands. If you think the government or your pension is supposed to take care of you, it is not. It's supposed to basically be welfare for the elderly. It means it's supposed to be just enough so you don't go on the street, just enough so that you can have some sort of food to eat. Social Security, and in some cases pensions, are not designed for you to become wealthy or successful. That is now your responsibility. When a big defense contractor contacted a client a couple of weeks ago and said, "Oh, hey, we made a mistake. A year ago when you retired and you moved out of state, I know it was great. We promised you, we said $7,500 a month was your pension. Now that's great if that's the number. Except after about a year they said, "Oh, you know what? We were so sorry. I know your pension was $7,500, but we miscalculated. So because we miscalculated, it's really going to be $5,500. You go, wait a second, $5,500, where am I supposed to come up with that? Well, don't worry. No, it's no problem. We're going to take back the $2,500 or the $2,000 extra that we were paying you from $7,500 down to $5,000, $2,500 difference. They're going to take from your new $5,000 pension going forward, which means for the next 10, 11, or 12 months, you're going to receive $2,500. So last month you were living on $7,500. This month you live on $2,500. And do so for the next year. If you don't believe or understand or think that this can happen to your school district pension, to the state of California pension, they're already $400 billion upside down. We have talked about it. There are three things that make up the pension system for you, for the balance in your pension system. The first one is the money the employees are putting in, right? That means everybody that's going to work, they're putting in money. And when they're putting in money, when they're going to work, they're taking a percentage of their paycheck, 10%, 8%, 12%, whatever the number is. And then there's a second way that money is earned inside of that pension plan.
Yes, and that would be the earnings. So the money that you had put in from deducted from your paycheck, or however that agreement worked between you and your employer, then is invested by the funds managers, whether that's the company itself or the employer, or they outsource it to someone else. Depends on your system, guys. It's not 100% everyone's the same way. And then that money is invested into the market, and it earns funds and earnings through wherever they put it. Real estate, stocks, bonds, mutual funds. They invest in the startup, whatever it is, they invest it, and that's where the earnings come from. However, sometimes they get it wrong. Sometimes.
That's what happened. It happened in 2008 when the pension system went kaput. I mean, a lot of money was lost. They took chances in certain investments, and that changed. The earnings inside of that, it depends on where they put your money. The third way is the employer. So in other words, if there's a deficiency between the employees, the current workers, they take a piece of their paycheck and put it in. If there's a deficiency because the interest inside of that account didn't earn enough or lost, then the third leg of that stool that has to put money in and pay for it is the pension. From where? The employer. So the employer has to go to their taxpayers or their customers, if it's GE or General Motors. The employer, right, they charge more money for the food, for the shelter, for the clothing, whatever they provide, the electric parts, the automobiles. They charge more to the customer. Or if it's a tax-paying entity like a city, county, state, school district, where do you think they get the money from? Their taxpayers. Well, the city, county, state entity, sometimes they cannot raise taxes just off of a whim. So they have to pull money from their reserve accounts to put it into the pension, and it becomes a deposit.
If they have reserve accounts, a lot of them have been in financial trouble recently too.
And when that happens, they need to say, well, we are either going to reduce benefits, we are going to increase contributions to your existing employees. I know you're 36 and you're not going to retire for 25 more years, but hey, between now and then you're going to have to put in more money. And so those three-legged stools that have to put money in could change everything about what they expect your money to be. Look, if I'm wrong, I'm glad, I hope. But I think you need to plan for 75% of that pension. If it comes in at 75%, great, you've planned for it. If it becomes better, well, gosh darn it, take a great vacation every couple months. But whatever they tell you, plan for 75%. That, I think, is a safe number to work on.
And really, the big reason behind this is because your retirement, your future that you've been working for you and your family, it's not under your control of the pension and the Social Security and all these systems. So someone else far away, most likely in D.C. or Sacramento, they're making the decisions based on what is best for them to keep their job, not necessarily what's going to be best for you. So you have to be the one to fight for yourself, not necessarily to rely on someone else to do that for you.
You know, Logan, I see this often where a lot of the political class, right, these lifelong politicians, where they go from city council to state assembly to state senate back to department of whatever, and they just bounce around in that Sacramento world or the LA County world. And their job is to never have to have a job. It's to always be a politician. You should make every politician have to be one of two things: either an employee that is subject to a union or a business owner. You're not allowed to just go out of school and become some sort of a state worker or government worker. I bring it up because you need to realize that the pressures that you receive when you work for a union. You need to realize, I'm paying dues. What am I getting for it? You need to realize the union has to be there to back the employee. And if you're a politician and you think about it, you go, well, gosh, you know what? I got to think of the employees. And if you're a business owner and you become a politician, you have to be able to say, well, gosh, you know what? We're going to be putting pressure on businesses. And do you think the businesses can afford to leave California? Say yes. So let's go over a couple of things, because I think there are women who retire more frequently than people think. Here's what I mean. We did an informal study, and about 3 out of 10 of the clients that we had come through the office over about a 2-month period of time, so 30% of them, the man made more than the woman. 3 out of 10. 7 out of 10 times, the lady, the woman, made more than the man in income. So if you think that it's all about, oh, well, it's about man and woman and this class warfare and this, folks, I don't see it. You might say, oh, that's so microcosm, Arif, because the people that come to your office are the ones that have some sort of financial means. Maybe so. I'm not saying it's a scientific double-blind study. That's not it. But what I am saying is that there's this phenomenon of women making more money than the men. And as that's starting to happen more and more frequently, you need to realize when you guys are ready to retire, the happy couple retires at the same time together. It's difficult, what I have seen anyway, when couples retire at 2 different times. Now, maybe plus or minus a month or 2, I don't mean that. But a couple of years in between, that can be pretty risky. Relationships suffer. There's jealousy, there's anger, there's resentment. All sorts of things happen when one of you retires before the other.
And a big part of this issue also is, are couples, when they get married, always the same age? Often, no.
That's
and
right.
Statistically, generally, the man is a little bit older. And also, generally based on life expectancy, who's going to live longer?
Yes, that's right.
So who, based on those of women generally being younger when they get married compared to their spouse, and the likelihood that they outlive their spouse, how much time they're going to be spending in retirement?
You know, that's funny you bring that up, because a study that I had seen some time ago said expect 11 to 12 years difference. So you add the age difference between a husband and a wife, and then add 12 years. That's the amount of time that she's going to be, statistically speaking, living without this particular spouse. Now, that doesn't mean she isn't going to remarry. We've seen that before. Now, if you have 7, 10, 12 years difference in age, plus another 10 or 12 years, and maybe your spouse doesn't have good health habits and you have great health habits, right? That can happen. Maybe there's 15, 20, 25 years longer without them than you ever had with them. So I think ladies need to be prepared to handle the finances in a much deeper way, because it's not just the bills and taking care of the family household, which is often the traditional way, but also beyond that, protecting themselves in retirement, getting reasonable rates of return, not running and losing their money, not taking risks where they're not familiar. That can be a real big deal. And so we start to see this where people are not going to end up getting hurt financially speaking. We come back in just a second. I want to get into just a quick little update. One of those is what's going to happen to your Social Security checks this year. We expect a change. Good news or bad news? Stay with us. We'll let you know. I'm Arif Halaby. That's Logan on the Total Financial Hour. This is your place for news, talk, and information. Your hometown station, KHTS.
City of Hope is a world leader in cancer research and treatment. And there's a City of Hope community practice location right here in Santa Clarita, eliminating a major barrier in the fight against cancer: distance to quality care. Santa Clarita benefits from City of Hope's compassionate care and renowned clinical expertise. Find out more at cityofhope.org/Santa Clarita or call 661-799-1999.
The best live theater can be found right here in the Santa Clarita Valley. The Canyon Theater Guild has been entertaining audiences for decades with top quality musicals and plays. Located on Main Street in Old Town Newhall, CTG also offers workshops for the young actor in your family. For more information, call the box office at 799-2702 or go online to canyontheater.org.
And now a cooking tip from Keith Mowry from Bob's Country Meats. Try cooking something exotic this weekend. How about barbecuing buffalo steaks?
Buffalo. We have buffalo patties, buffalo steaks. They're high in iron, low in fat. They come out for a real nice meal.
Buffalo and ostrich are just some of the great exotic meats you'll find at Bob's Country Meats. Chicken, tri-tip, pork chops, turkey, and steaks. For the tastiest meats in town, visit Bob's Country Meats on Soledad in Canyon Country.
Are you ready for some football? Consumers Furniture is. Come on in and check out our huge selection of Power Motion furniture. We have the largest selection of reclining sectionals, sofas, love seats, and recliners in the Santa Clarita Valley. Fabric or leather, Consumers has the right piece at the right price to make your home ready for all the big games. Need it for this Saturday or Sunday? No problem. Consumers has same-day or next-day delivery on most of our items. Consumers Furniture is located in the Center Point Shopping Center right below Sam's Club and Walmart.
Santa Clarita's hometown station.
Now FM 98.1 FM and AM 1220. Your hometown station.
Financial security will help you live the life you dream. Learn about financial power, the Total Financial Hour. Now higher income strategy. Learn from Arif Halaby.
Hey, welcome back to the show. I'm Arif Halaby. Total Financial Solutions Safer Money Hour. We're talking about your family's finances, helping you get out of debt, manage money, hopefully plan for your future and your retirement. A couple of things, guys. Look, after nearly a decade of little or no increases in Social Security, we're starting to see some changes in the next year. We actually think that Social Security checks, your paycheck, could go up as much as 3%. We're thinking 2 to 3%. What does that really mean for you? Well, you've got to look at the amount of money that you're currently bringing in your Social Security. So if you make $2,000 in your Social Security check, it could be around $40, maybe $50 a month change. Maybe not huge, but certainly something. I like it better than nothing.
At the same time, though, what was the last time that when we had a Social Security increase? What also happened at the same exact time?
Yeah, they took it off in Medicare. So they gave you an adjustment back in 2018. The money came in and it went out the back door. So don't expect there to be any kind of significant problem. See, what took place was during the Obamacare plan, they kind of shoved everybody into Medicare. They just made Medicare, instead of for seniors and folks that are struggling, they said, you're going to now have to pay for all sorts of people. Well, that's exciting unless you don't have the money for all sorts of people. Then how do you come up with the money? So they were trying to scramble and figure out ways to shove dollars into Medicare, and they were taking it from all sorts of places, and it just became a real mess. So there may be another Medicare increase. So you might see an increase in Social Security, again, between 2 and 3%. We're not sure. And as those dollars start to come in, you'll notice, hopefully, that there should not be an increase in Medicare. There could be, but we hope there wouldn't be. Cost of living adjustments are implemented in order to offset inflation. We haven't had huge inflation the last few years. I guess it depends on who you talk to. Inflation in some of your taxes, your car registration and gasoline in the state, car insurance, other expenses have gone up through the roof. One of the gentlemen I was speaking to earlier today, he lives in the San Fernando Valley, he said, my electric bill this summer was over $1,000 between his water and power. $1,000. And you guys, you understand you're not supposed to, you don't just go make 1,000 and comes in the front door and you give it to them. It comes in the front door. You have to pay taxes on that money. So depending on your tax bracket, you might have to make, $1,300. You give $300 to the government in taxes, then you have $1,000 for your utilities. Even if you try to say in the state of California, you know what, I think I just want to be unconnected from the grid. I don't want to be on the grid. Just take me off this whole electric thing, and I'm going to have my own batteries, I'm going to have my own solar panels or windmills, whatever I want to do. Can you do that?
They still charge you for it.
You cannot. That's right. It is illegal to be disconnected from the grid. You have to be a part of something. It kind of sounds like health insurance and auto insurance, doesn't it? This whole thing about being forced to be part of something and buy something even though you don't want to kind of starts sounding a lot more like a socialist environment, doesn't it? One of the things that we're talking about here today is the best and most affordable suburbs to retire. We're starting to see people move out of California at a higher clip. Right now, to move out of California, one of the rental companies, if you're taking a truck from Los Angeles to Dallas, it's around $1,400. That's the cost for the truck. To come from Dallas to Los Angeles, it's about $1,400. Okay, Dallas to Los Angeles, it's around $1,400 to rent the truck. To take the truck from Los Angeles to Dallas is $3,300. Why? What's the difference? Because they have a whole bunch of empty trucks sitting in Dallas, and they're trying to bring them here. And often for people, it's a job. They'll fly you out there. You spend the night in a hotel. It's called deadheading or driving empty. Often a lot of college kids in the summer, they'll go out and they'll drive empty trucks. So maybe you'll earn $200 to drive it back from Las Vegas. Maybe you'll earn $400 to bring it back from a place like Texas. And to bring it back from a place like Florida or Colorado or New York, to bring it to California because they need the trucks here because people are leaving, they might pay you $800 or $1,000, plus your room and board and along the way. So for a lot of folks, they are utilizing the fungibility, it's a special secret term, fungibility, which is the ability for money to move. Because the United States, the federal government doesn't care where you live. You can live anywhere you want. And your tax bracket is the same. So whether you live in Washington State with zero income tax or New York State with a very high income tax, it doesn't matter. You are paying the same federal tax.
And this even applies if you are a U.S. citizen living outside of the country. Still the same federal tax.
We had a record number. In fact, we had a 300%. Just so you know, that's 3 times as many people. The year that President Obama was elected and served, his first year, 2009, people started seeing this regulatory environment. They started seeing socialist movements. And when that started happening, we had a 300% increase in people giving up U.S. citizenship. Now, let me ask you, who do you think is giving up U.S. citizenship? These are people that would pay taxes. They would employ people. These are people that buy things that have many people benefiting. In other words, how many people can benefit from a Ferrari dealership? Well, gosh, a lot, guys, because there's somebody who has to get it ready, somebody who sells it, the sales manager. There's somebody who washes the car. Oh, that's so aristocratic of you. Well, how about this? To get things repaired, the gasoline that the car uses, the gas station employees, the road repair people, the car registration that the state of California taxes on that car versus your car or mine. Do you realize when somebody buys something expensive, many people benefit? Whoever manufactured it, transported it, the guy who drove the train, the longshoreman or longshorewoman who unloaded it. A lot of these items have a trickle-down effect, which, thank you very much, allows longshoremen to make in some cases, over $200,000 a year to unload stuff in Long Beach and in the Port of Los Angeles. High school education. So there are lots of people who benefit when wealthy people spend their money. But when we had a 300%, that means 3 times the people were giving up U.S. citizenship. They were not poor people. They were people that had careers, jobs. Most of them owned businesses. And they were giving up their U.S. citizenship. Instead of fixing it and saying, well, we want you to stay, instead of saying that, what did they say? They turned around and said, what we'd like to do anyway is we'd like to make you stay here. And if we can't make you stay, we're going to do something else. What is it? Very simple. We're going to tax you when you leave. And we're going to tax you for a year's worth of income. We're going to tax you for a year's worth of any assets that you are going to try to take out of the state. You think these dollars are yours. So then the Obama administration started implementing penalties and fees and fines if you wanted to leave the country and live outside and become a citizen of another country. So that changed a lot of people, because overall, when this began, many of you think, oh, well, everybody wants to be American. Well, yes. But you have to make it so that the businesses and the jobs, because we need people to put into Social Security. We need people to put into the pension systems. We need people to have jobs where they're putting into the union pension systems and the Cal State employees and the federal employees, right? This needs to happen. So we have to be encouraging of businesses. My opinion, if you don't agree, that's fine. I'd love to hear from you. 888-99-RETIRE, 888-997-3847, 888-99-RETIRE. All right, Logan, a lot of people are leaving the state. They're going to different suburbs. Let's take a look and see where they're moving to and why they're going. You know, I brought up money a lot. I do that because I think that's the one common denominator that everybody has to deal with. Arizona seems to be the hit on quite a few places.
Yes, well, Sun City, one of the suburbs of Phoenix, is listed as the top spot according to this report. And they looked at financial stuff primarily, with the cost of living and groceries and everything like that, as well as weather and some other factors. The big place they picked out first was just outside of Phoenix, called Sun City, Arizona. Total annual income required is about $34,000 a year in order to live there for retirement and groceries, transportation, healthcare.
Yeah, it factors in a lot of things, Logan. We're not talking about just to exist and sit in a house all day long. Now, I get it. It's 120 degrees or whatever it might be during the summer. But, folks, we had a lot of that kind of weather here. Don't forget, we had 110, 114 degree days. Many this last summer. All right. But we also see people going to the other coast. And, unfortunately, these are the folks that got hit pretty significantly in the hurricane. But we saw a few places in North Carolina. Bermuda Run, North Carolina. It's a suburb of Winston-Salem, so it's inland a little bit. Fairfield Harbor, which is right next to New Bern. That's the place that got hit the most. You're also seeing people move to some of the outskirts of North Carolina, Sunset Beach, right outside of Myrtle Beach, right? The outskirts of some of the big cities. The reason that we see North Carolina is because it's just high enough to not be as humid as the Gulf and Florida, because a lot of people don't like that humidity, especially from California. We're used to a drier temperature. But what it costs to live in these places, it's about $3,000 a month. So if you think of his pension, her pension, his Social Security, your Social Security, selling your home and making a few dollars and turning that into an income stream forever, you could probably live really comfortably in North Carolina. And it doesn't take much to jump on a plane and go to Europe for the week, to come back down to California 4 or 5 hours later, to visit grandchildren in Seattle, right? Maybe that's a 6-hour flight. Remember, once the airplane is really turned into be almost like, well, take a look. You can fly for $39, right? You get the $69. These kind of flights that you can jump on a plane and go anywhere, anytime, that really kind of neutralizes the whole it's so far away. Because when you can be in the morning and fly somewhere for lunch, you could leave in the morning and see your daughter's dance recital, your granddaughter's dance recital this evening, and come back the next day, then it's really about money, isn't it? So if your cost of living is low enough, then spending $400 every couple months on an airline ticket is not that much. You can do it because you're not spending $6,000 a month just for food, shelter, clothing.
And many people have had their reason for staying in our area. It's kind of gone. Their kids have spread out across the country, so staying here doesn't make a big difference for the kids anymore because they're somewhere else. Moving to one of these locations, whether it's in Arizona, in Texas, in Florida, and a big common factor in all those that we haven't mentioned yet is the taxes.
Yeah, you take a look at some places like Pecan Plantation, 35 miles away from Fort Worth. So 45 minutes probably you're at the airport. It's one of the most, it's called treasured places in Texas. That's the most expensive place. That's about $3,100, $3,200 a month to live. That's not a very difficult thing to achieve when you have been making enough money in the West Coast and your Social Security checks, his and hers, probably pretty darn near comes close to that number, right? A little bit of savings, a 401k, a couple of $100,000 that you saved, maybe $100,000 equity in your house that you're not going to put into the new house, and all of a sudden you have a lifestyle that's pretty substantial.
Well, the current average income from Social Security is about $1,400 or so a month, based on the numbers we've received from the latest reports that the Social Security releases periodically. But okay, that's about husband and wife. That's a pretty good number, pretty close to what you were looking for and needing according to the numbers for this location. And once again, that tax savings is going to be a big part of it.
Yeah, and think of it like this, right? In the Pecan Plantation, which is like a suburb, it's right off the river. You're somewhere in the neighborhood of 4-bedroom, 4-bath house, 2,500 square foot, single story, because that happens a lot for us as we're getting a little older. Less than $300,000 a year, $295,000. I mean, do you understand that what that does to your quality of life? Oh, Arif, the humidity in the summertime. You're right. You don't think you can afford to go to, I don't know, Alaska or Wyoming or Big Bear or Lake Tahoe and spend 2 months there while the weather's crummy, but your cost of living is so inexpensive? You guys, I share this with you not to chase you or to convince you to leave California. I don't think you're that shallow. I share this with you because you have to wake up. You have to vote for different people in Sacramento because these people up there that have the majority, it's a one-party rule. They get to do and say whatever they want, and they come up with some wacky ideas, whoever screams the loudest. And they start letting people out of prison. They, just add this licensing fee. I just had car registration yesterday. I opened it up. I said, what's this for? Oh, it's car registration. $175. Oh, that's not bad. And then $150. See, car registration is not the same as a licensing fee. Do you understand? They have a group of people, and all they do is sit around and try to think of a way, something else to tax. Instead of thinking, how can we be more efficient? Let's cut costs. Instead of saying, well, our homeless department is messing up, so we need to get in there, cut waste, fire people, start over. Instead, they say, oh, the problem must be they're not making enough money. They don't have enough money. So let's give them more money. So you have a failed system with people that are ineffective, and they give them more money. They say, you really mess up, so we want you to really, really mess up. Here's another city that we get. Imagine this, Mesquite, Nevada, suburb of Las Vegas. Have you ever heard that term before? Las Vegas, Nevada? Is there enough people maybe moving outside? So if you need to retire, now if all of your family here is your church, your charity, your groups, I get it. But I don't want you to forget, especially if your daughter marries somebody and moves to the Bay Area and your son moves to Dallas and your daughter moves to Denver, you're kind of going to be jumping on a plane anyway most of the time. So it's now time to take care of you. It's now time to take care of you and your family. Don't just sit there and say, well, at least in some cases I'm going to be, hopefully, in a position to someday retire somewhere. You can live like a king or a queen in most other parts of the country. And if California wants to chase people out, that's what they want to do. I think there's enough folks that are struggling where maybe, just maybe, times are going to change in California. Maybe. I don't know.
And part of this, when we were talking about the risks of relying too much on other people's control of your financial future, essentially, is Social Security this year hit a big milestone in 2018. And that was the point where the revenue, the money coming in, and the money going out that's being paid to everyone's Social Security, it crossed over. And now Social Security is paying out every year more than it's taking in. This isn't an immediate problem where it's going to go bankrupt tomorrow, but they're expecting 2034 or so, about 16 years, is when they are going to have their fund that they've been building up for the past several decades, and it's just going to be empty. It's gone.
And these dollars, look, 2034, 2035, the dollars are supposed to be gone. Why? Where do they go? They're going to have to do, I think, one of three things. They're going to reduce benefits. That's why they have stopped increasing cost of living. They're going to have to increase taxes, so people are going to have to put in more money. And I think they're going to have to extend the date. Instead of age 62, they're probably going to have to make it 65. And then instead of age 66 or 67, the full retirement age, I think they're going to have to make that age 70. And then the maximum you could make is probably age 75. I think if they go 65, 70, 75, it's going to hurt a lot of people. You're going to be upset. People are going to complain. I get it. And I think they're going to have to go through and completely revamp the pension system in this state. It is the only way that they're going to make it so that your pension doesn't die. Because we are $400 billion upside down in the California pension system. When I started teaching on this stuff 22 years ago, coming up on 23 actually, when I started teaching on this stuff, it was $6 billion upside down. Oh, I don't know how CalSTRS is going to do it. We're $6 billion upside down. I hope there's enough money. I hope people, $6 billion is a lot of money. Okay. Now it's 400. I don't know where the money goes. I think they just don't know how to spend it.
And
well, maybe they do. They just spend it incorrectly. I don't know.
And doesn't that $400 billion short that they're expecting, doesn't that rely on them getting something like a 7% rate of return? Yeah,
that's right. They're actually reliant on getting they built this initially very unrealistic, like an 8.2 and then 7.8. All those numbers mean is that they were expecting to make a certain amount of money, and they never did. And they lost it. So you have to protect you and your family. We're going to continue when we come back in just a minute. On your place for news, talk, and information, I'm Arif Halaby. That's Logan. We're talking at the Total Financial Hour. I'm sorry, I'm kind of bumming you out for your lunch break. We're doing our best. I'm going to give you solutions to the problems when we come back on AM 1220 KHTS.
Santa Clarita's premier senior living community, Oakmont of Santa Clarita, is leasing, bringing comfort and luxury to assisted living. Seniors can enjoy 5-star amenities, panoramic views, easy access to the freeways, and nearby shopping centers in a world-class community that provides an advanced continuum of care. No other community has this kind of luxury and amenities in our valley. You'll find good health, vitality, and purpose at Oakmont of Santa Clarita. Stop by for a tour. Visit oakmontofsantaclarita.com.
Visiting Angels is looking for quality caregivers and companions to join our growing team of compassionate, caring people providing care and assistance to Santa Clarita seniors. Our Angels help seniors with activities such as meal preparation, light housekeeping, personal care, and running errands. Visiting Angels takes pride in offering competitive wages, benefits, paid training, and flexible schedules. We have clients throughout Santa Clarita so you can work close to home. Details at visitingangels.com/Santa Clarita.
America's choice in home care.
My favorite restaurant in Santa Clarita? Salt Creek Grill, of course. Great food, neat atmosphere.
For a business lunch or romantic dinner, I'll always go to Salt Creek.
Hi, I'm Greg Amsler, owner of Salt Creek Grill. We have created Salt Creek to provide you with the most comfortable and inviting restaurant in Santa Clarita. Enjoy fresh mesquite grilled fish, aged steaks, and the best chops imaginable. There's entertainment every Friday and Saturday night, and we have the best Sunday brunch in town. Salt Creek is on Town Center Drive in Valencia.
Finding the right lawyer can be a challenge, but in Santa Clarita, there's no need to search when there's Hacker Law Group, Santa Clarita's premier litigation firm. Jeffrey Hacker has represented celebrities, financial institutions, accident victims, real estate developers, realtors, contractors, businesses, nonprofit organizations, and other individuals and companies with their legal challenges. Mr. Hacker is one of Santa Clarita's leaders, consistently listed as one of our most influential. When everything is on the line and you need legal counseling, visit hackerlawgroup.com.
Santa Clarita's hometown station.
Now FM 98.1 FM and AM 1220. Your hometown station.
Financial security will help you live.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for staying with me on the Total Financial Hours. We finished up this hour of the program. I'm Arif Halaby. That's Logan Halaby, and we're talking about your family's finances. Logan, you've been raised in a family that has always talked about money as if it was just another part of the conversation. You know, we started the program by saying people don't talk about money at the dinner table. Communication about money is not really taking place. In fact, have little Susie or little Johnny walk up to somebody and say, "Hi, Mrs. Jones, that's a beautiful purse. How much did you pay for that?" And what happens to the dad? Or
Just
the
make
mom?
sure you send the cute kid so they don't get smacked.
You say, we don't talk about money. That's rude. Oh, you're a doctor. How much money do you make? I bet you make a lot of money. Right? You would say, gosh, you guys, that just feels so yucky. That's not what we say. But you can talk about sex at the dinner table. You can talk about violence at the dinner table. You can talk about drugs at the dinner table. But heaven forbid you should talk about money. I want you to normalize the conversation. You shouldn't be obsessive over it, and just asking about it, talking about it, understanding, Dad, what's a merger? Dad, what's an acquisition? Dad, how do you buy rental property? Right? You guys think that's so awkward, just like the 1950s family would have thought it was so awkward to talk about things that you talk about at the dinner table today.
And this is a great opportunity for both of you to learn. If you don't know the answer to the question, as from the kid's perspective, if my parents ever said, I don't know, let's find out, versus making something up or just saying, doesn't matter, not important, but let's figure it out. And where do you think we could find that information? You go to Google, you go to the library, find a book, something like that. That way you both learn and step forward in your financial knowledge.
And we have looked over and over again about where people come to the conclusions that they thought money was good or bad or what it can do or not do. And usually it comes from the home. It comes from the conversations the parents have. So I want you to just take a greater responsibility for that in your own life. Take a greater responsibility. Don't let Wall Street, don't let the brokers tell you, just don't you worry your pretty little head. You go to work, take some money, throw it back behind you in your 401k plan or in your IRAs, and we'll take care of the rest. And when you turn 60, open your eyes, surprise, you'll have money. You can't do that anymore. You can't trust the government to do that. You certainly can't trust your employer. Your employer's job is to not manage a pension, but you guys expect that. Somehow you were raised that don't worry, the company you work for, if you get a job with the city of whatever, the county of LA, the city of Santa Clarita, that you're supposed to somehow expect them to be good at filling potholes and keeping order and putting out fires and making sure businesses are safe, and, oh, by the way, manage retirement accounts for thousands of people. That's ridiculous. So you have to get more involved, ask the questions, take a greater responsibility. Today, the education and the knowledge is available to everyone. It is out there. It is no longer hidden or kept amongst those ivory tower folks. And if you have to expand your retirement mindset, quality of living, quantity, meaning retiring sooner rather than later, if you have to expand it outside of California, I want you to consider that. Because that is probably something that is the missing link. One of the gentlemen earlier today, his retirement accounts allowed him to retire outside of California. That's it, $370,000. Otherwise, he spends $9,000 a month, with $1,000 of it towards water and power in the city of LA. His taxes are off the charts. He said, Arif, I can't afford to live in the city of Los Angeles or California. I said, okay, let's look at your retirement income. His retirement income was $5,700 a month between pension and Social Security. And that didn't even include him earning income from his retirement accounts. So I said, gosh, if you pick almost any other city or state in the country, you can retire and live very nicely. He said, we never really thought about that. Well, it's up to you. You either have to work. Now, look, if the quality of life is what you're looking for, you need to research that. And the last thing is I want you to spend 5 years. If you have the time, 5 years. At least 2 years, because I want you to go through a couple of seasons where you're traveling, you're expanding, you're reviewing different cities, counties, cultures, states, looking at the laws that matter to you, the rules that matter to you, where the growth is of that community, seeing what side of town you want to live on. I want you to spend time to practice, or what I call pre-retirement. Spend some time, your vacation, your holidays, and physically go out there and take a look at what those communities are about. If that is the direction you're going to go, then it may make a lot of sense for you to retire outside of California. The politicians are chasing away the businesses. The good jobs, the good businesses, a lot of them are leaving. The politicians are going to retire outside of California themselves. Watch. Look at the last few. Look at where Gray Davis calls home. Look at where Pete Wilson calls home. Look at where the Republican and Democrat state senators and legislators, when they retire, where they call home. Their residence is no longer in California. So please take care of you and your family. Thanks for listening. I'm Arif Halaby. That's Logan Halaby. 888-99-RETIRE. If you have any questions or comments, you can always get a hold of us. 888-997-3847. This is the Total Financial Hour, and your place for news, talk, and information. Your hometown station, KHTS.